ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 24, verse 31. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bruvanam Drupatim Jagatpati Satyavratam Matsya Vapuryugakshaye Vihartu Kama Pralayarnave Bravich Chikir Shurekanta Janapriya Priyam. Shukadev Goswami said, when King Satyavrata spoke in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who at the end of the Yuga had assumed the form of a fish to benefit his devotee and enjoy his pastimes in the water of inundation, pralaya, pralayarnave, responded as follows. Shri Bhagavan Saptame Hyadyatanaad Urdhvam Ahanyetad Arindama Nimankshatyapyayam Bodho Trailokyam Bhurbhuvadikam. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O King, who can subdue your enemies? O King, who can subdue your enemies? On the seventh day from today, the three words Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha will all merge into the water of inundation, as Supreme Lord is saying. That on the seventh day from today, Trailokyam Leelayamanayam Samvartam Bhasi Vaitada Upastasyati Nau Kachid Vishalatvam Mayerita. When all the three worlds merge into the water, a large boat sent by me will appear before you. Tvam tavadoshadhi sarva bijanyuchhavachani cha saptarshibih parivrataha sarvasattvopabramhitaha आरुह्य बृहतीं नावं विचरिष्यसि अविक्लवः एकार्णवे निरालोके ऋषीणामेव वर्चसा. Thereafter, O king, you shall collect all types of herbs and seeds and load them on that great boat, then accompanied by the seven rishis and surrounded by all kinds of living entities. You shall get aboard that boat and without moroseness, aviklavaha. You shall easily travel with your companions on the ocean of inundation, the only illumination being the effulgence of the great rishis. So Supreme Lord is step by step, He is directing what all needs to be done. Hmm? This is a life of great devotees. They don't have to think much. Lord will think everything and they have to just do according to the Lord's plan. Of course, it's not that pure devotees don't think, but they are directed at every stage. दोधूयमानां तां नावं समीरेण बलीयसा उपस्थितस्य मे शृङ्गे निबध्नीहि महाहिना. Then, as the boat is tossed about by the powerful winds, attach the vessel to my horn by means of the great serpent Vasuki, for I shall be present by your side. He is always by the side of his devotees. Aham tvam rishibhi sardham sahanavam mudanvati vikarshan vicharishyami yavad brahmi nisha prabho. Pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O king, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of Lord Brahma's slumber is over. Hmm. Lord Brahma's slumber, sleep. This particular devastation actually took place not during the night of Lord Brahma, but during his day. Oh. For it was during the time of Chakshusha Manu. Brahma's night takes place when Brahma goes to sleep. But in the daytime, there are 14 Manus, one of whom is Chakshusha Manu. Oh, okay, okay. Interesting. So this was slumber. Slumber means like day sleep, kind of like drowsy. Hmm. Because otherwise, devastation has to happen at the end of the 14th Manu. Now it is happening during the time of Chakshusha Manu, who is not at the end, but who is in the somewhere in the middle. Yeah, in the middle. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that although it was daytime for Lord Brahma, Brahma felt sleepy for a short time by the supreme will of the Lord. The short period is regarded as Lord Brahma's night. This has been elaborately discussed by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita. So, some special incident when the Lord wants all the three worlds to get inundated during the day of Brahma. So, following is a summary of his analysis. So, Bhagavatamrita, Rupa Goswami's Lagu Bhagavatamrita. So, Prabhupada is quoting a summary of his analysis of this incident. Because Agastya Muni cursed Swayambhuva Manu, during the time of Swayambhuva Manu, a devastation took place. This devastation is mentioned in the Matsya Purana. During the time of Chakshusha Manu, by the supreme will of the Lord, there was suddenly another pralaya, a devastation. Because we already heard that there was one more pralaya when Hayagriva stole the Vedas. So now that was during Swayambhuva Manu because he was cursed. This is during Chakshusha Manu. This is mentioned by Markandeya Rishi in the Vishnu Dharmottara. At the end of Manu's time, there is not necessarily a devastation, but at the end of the Chakshusha Manvantara, the Supreme Lord, by his illusory energy, wanted to show Satyavrata the effects of devastation. Srila Sridhar Swami also agrees with this opinion. Lagu Bhagavatamrita says, so Prabhupada is quoted the verse, which is what he's summarized already, he's explained, but he's also quoted the verse for authenticity. So interesting. See, acharyas do so much of clear analysis. Madiyam mahimanam cha param brahmeti shabditam vetsyasyanugrihitam me samprashnair vivritam hridi. You will be thoroughly advised and favored by me, and because of your inquiries, everything about my glories, which are known as Param Brahma, will be manifest within your heart. Thus, you will know everything about me. Sarvasya chaham shriti sannivishto matta smritirgnanam apohanam cha. Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart, and from him come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The Lord reveals himself in proportion to one's surrender to him. See again, this we keep discussing. To the extent of our surrender. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajami aham. In responsive cooperation, the Lord reveals himself in proportion to one's surrender. So this is a matter of Lord revealing himself. And he reveals himself in proportion to one's surrender. What does this mean? What does this mean to say the Lord reveals himself to the proportion of one's surrender? So there are so many things that are described in the Shastra. Uh, but will how will we experience it? Mm. We will experience it to the extent of our surrender. So we might not be able to realize the full purport of a statement if we are not fully surrendered. Mm. So, for example, so suppose say somebody was a devotee in the last life, and that devotee was a sannyasi. And suppose that sannyasi because he is reborn in this life, and has a female body, which means that something wrong happened in the previous life. Right now, this is important because this has been revealed now. Now this revelation now comes only to those devotees to whom the Lord wants to give some message. Mm. So this, like this, Lord reveals. Now when he says, okay, antakale chamam eva smaran muktva, now we might think that it's very easy. Now example is that one who had taken sannyas could not remember Krishna at the time of his death. So which means that the Lord is now showing, saying that, see, it's not easy. Unless one is completely pure, devoid of even iota of material attraction, we cannot achieve perfection. Now, hearing this, one has to become serious in devotion, meaning we can't assume, and then, okay, anyway, I'm chanting, I have so much of taste, for devotional activities, so maybe I will sail through. Doesn't look like. So, which means that, why am I saying this? Because now the Lord is revealing this to the devotees based on their faith. Now, it might not come to everybody, or something else might come to different devotees based on their surrender. If we firmly believe that Krishna can do miracles, he can do miracles. He will do miracles to reciprocate. That's why Prabhupada is saying in responsive cooperation. It's a very somewhat difficult to explain word. Why should the Lord cooperate? Huh? Why should the Lord cooperate? Lord doesn't have to cooperate with his devotees, but in responsive, because the devotee is surrendered in that way, the Lord responsively cooperates. Mm. So it's very, very important. This how much faith we have in Krishna, how much faith we have in Guru, how much we are willing to follow everything that is told to us. How much we are careless, how much we are casual, all of this decides. And thing scares me because um, it shows that we need like real dedication, mind single pointedly fixed on Krishna to be able to achieve perfection. So it's important that you have faith in Krishna, that Krishna will handhold me and take me. Mm. So whatever Krishna does is he knows best. Mm. And sticking to Krishna's and Guru's lotus feet. The conditioned soul, uh, That which is revealed to one who fully surrenders is how Prabhupada is saying this. Okay. Sometimes I speak ahead. That which is really revealed to one who fully surrenders is different from what is revealed to one who surrenders partially. Everyone naturally surrenders to the Supreme Person of Godhead, either directly or indirectly. The conditioned soul surrenders to the laws of nature in material existence, but when one fully surrenders to the Lord, material nature does not act upon him. So, to the extent that we are not surrendered to Krishna, to that extent, material nature will act upon us. Which means that we can get distracted, we can get affected by good and bad of this world, etc., etc. That can happen to the extent of our surrender. Such a fully surrendered soul is favored by the Supreme Person of Godhead directly. Directly. Important thing is directly. So Krishna is ready to directly reciprocate with his devotees. And he does so according to our surrender. Mame vaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. One who has fully surrendered to the Lord has no fear of the modes of material nature, for everything is but an expansion of the Lord's glories, sarvam khalvidam brahma. And these glories are gradually revealed and realized. The Lord is the supreme purifier. Param brahma parandama pavitram paramam bhava. The more one is purified and the more he wants to know about the Supreme, the more the Lord reveals to him. So it's a cycle. Somehow we have to enter that cycle. And the cycle is that you, the more we are purified, the more we want to know Supreme, the more the Lord reveals. The more the Lord reveals, the more we become purified, the more we want to know about Supreme. And this can go on like this. So, but then we have to enter into that circle. How do we enter into that circle? We enter into that circle by Shravanam, by good quality association. Then, uh, because the heart starts to become purified, so then he can enter into this circle. Full knowledge of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan is revealed to the pure devotees. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham evanukampartham, kampartham, anukampartham, compassion. Aham agnanajam tamaha. The tama agnana, meaning deep, dark ignorance. Nashayami atma bhavastu. Gnana deepena bhasvata. So Krishna is saying by the lamp of knowledge, I destroy the darkness in the heart. So this is also very nice. Knowledge, again, the knowledge is what um, mm, again, that knowledge is something that we acquire not by our ability or strength, by Lord's mercy. Lord's mercy. So everything that a devotee hears, uh, mm, applies in his life, etc., is mercy of the Lord. Because, see, just imagine, there are so many zillions of instructions. Which one should we work on? At any point of time, all of us will have to focus on some specific aspect of all the so many instructions are there. Some will be more relevant to us than others. Other instructions based on the stage of our devotion, etc., etc. Oh, how will we know what to focus on? That also Krishna reveals. That also Krishna says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. So this Buddhi Yoga, is intelligence. And Krishna reveals. Uh, which is why um, somebody who's ignorant, who's who is an illiterate, can't read, can't write, also can be a great devotee of the Lord. Because whatever required knowledge is required, that the Lord will reveal from within. dwelling in the hearts. Krishna will reveal the required knowledge. So we have to, but we have to be, sometimes what we do is we become deaf to what the Lord is saying. So something the Lord says, but we kind of can't recognize it as the Lord's direction. And sometimes we ignore it. Multiple times I've experienced this. Sometimes suddenly some thought just crosses my mind, and I just think that, okay, just, no, I don't give it attention. And then after some time, I realize that whatever had come uh, came true, or something happened in that connection, which means that something the Lord actually, there's some revelation there, but which I couldn't recognize because of my fallen condition. So the more pure the devotees are, with every thought, they know that maybe there is something to be, especially sometimes some random thoughts come to our mind. Some random, meaning we're not thinking about anything specifically, but some thought comes. And the thought comes, it possibly is some revelation, something the Lord wants to tell us. But if we are not alert enough, we will not recognize it. Maybe we might think that, whatever, just some silly random thought and ignore it, or maybe whatever, right? But the Lord is ready to reciprocate. We should understand this. He's not withholding himself. And this is to the extent of our surrender. Like we've been discussing this, for pure devotees, Lord directly controls his senses. We should understand that. Itham adishya rajanam harirantara antaradhiyata sonmavaikshatatam kalam yam rishikesha adishat. After thus instructing the king, the Supreme Person of Godhead immediately disappeared. Then King Satyavrata began to wait for the time of which the Lord had instructed. आस्तीर्यदर्भान् कूलान् राजर्षि प्राग् उदन्मुखः निशसादहरे पादौ चिन्तयन्मत्स्यरूपिणः. After spreading Kusha with its tips pointing east, the saintly king himself facing northeast. Oh, normally they face north, they sit facing north. Okay, sitting facing northeast, sat down on the grass and began to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who had assumed the form of a fish. So directions are also important. Tata samudra udvelaha sarvatah plavayanmahim vardamano maha meghair varshadbhi samadrishyata. Thereafter, uh, Mahameghai, gigantic clouds, pouring incessant waters, swelled the ocean more and more. Thus, the ocean began to overflow onto the land and inundate the entire world. Not some local, some flood. Dhyayan Bhagavadadesham Dadrushenavamagatam Tamaruroha Viprendreir Adayaushadhi Virudaha. Now, just see, when we are hearing these things, suddenly we should put ourselves in the position of Satyavrata Muni, right? And then there is like full flood, you know, like everything flooding from all directions, you can't see, and assume, say, you're afraid of water. Uh, so, what will be the state of mind of a devotee? A surrendered devotee like the king would be super confident, saying that, okay, I'll wait. Lord said a boat will arrive. I'll wait for that boat to arrive. Hmm. For foolish people like me, we might just say, oh, no, 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 we have to do something, water is rising, boat has not come. Maybe let's call Krishna, ask him to send boat quickly. So it depends on the level of our faith. Uh, People who have faith will have faith in the words of the Supreme Lord and will wait for it to happen. And for others, um, maybe not fully surrendered, may not have full faith in Krishna, they may get agitated with situations. As Satyavrata remembered the order of the Supreme Lord, he saw a boat coming near him. Thus he collected herbs and creepers, and accompanied by saintly Brahmanas, he got aboard the boat. So he remembered, okay, Krishna had said that he's going to send a boat. And suddenly the boat appeared. तमूचुर्मुनय प्रीता राजन्ध्यायस्व केशवं स वै नः सङ्कटादस्मादविताशं विधास्यति. Saintly Brahmanas, being pleased with the king, said to him, O king, please meditate upon the Supreme Person of Godhead, Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and arrange for our well-being. Of course, saintly Brahmanas are telling the king, who is a great devotee, who is all the time meditating on the Supreme Lord. He already thought about the Supreme Lord before the Brahmanas said. But it's not that the king will say, you're just Brahmanas, I'm Vaishnava. You're telling me to meditate. I've been already meditating on the Lord. No, it doesn't say all that. सोऽनुध्यातस्ततो राज्ञा प्रादुरासीन् महार्णवे एकशृङ्गधरो मत्स्यो एकशृङ्गधरो मत्स्यो हैमो नियुतयोजनः. Then while the king constantly meditated, see, he took their orders, he took their instructions. While the king constantly meditated upon the Supreme Lord, a large golden haima, ekashringadhara matsya, one horn matsya, a large golden fish appeared in the ocean of inundation. The fish had one horn and was 8 million miles long. Imagine a fish which is 8 million miles. We don't even know how big it is. Oof. निबध्यनावं तच्छृङ्गे यथोक्तो हरिणा पुरा वरत्रेणाहिना तुष्टाव मधुसूदनम्. Following the instructions formally given by the Supreme Lord, the king anchored the boat to the fish's horn, using the serpent Vasuki as a rope. Thus, being satisfied, he began offering prayers to the Lord. So, obviously, Lord wished that these things should happen. So, Vasuki was there, fish was there, boat was there, everything was there. Satyavrata had to just follow the instructions. So now he offers prayers. Sri Rajo Vacha Anadya Vidyopahatatma Samvidas Tanmula Samsara Parishramaturaha Yadrichayopasrutayam Apnuyur Vimuktidona Paramo Gurur Bhavan. The king said, by the grace of the Lord, those who lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial and who, because of this ignorance, are involved in a material conditional life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. I accept that Supreme Lord as a supreme spiritual master. Supreme Person of Godhead is actually the supreme spiritual master. The Supreme Lord knows everything about the suffering of the conditioned soul. And therefore, he appears in this material world, sometimes personally, sometimes by an incarnation, and sometimes by authorizing a living being to act on his behalf, which is the Guru. In all cases, however, he is the original spiritual master who enlightens the conditioned souls who are suffering in the material world. The Lord is always busy helping the conditioned souls in many ways. Therefore, he is addressed here as Paramo Gurur Bhavan. The representative of the Supreme Person of Godhead who acts to spread Krishna consciousness is also guided by the Supreme Lord to act properly in executing the Lord's order. So, which is why Sakshadharitvena samasta shastre uktastatha bhavyata eva sadbihi kintu prabhorya priyeva tasya. So, Sakshadharitvena, he should be respected as good as Hari. Why? Because he is prabhorya priyeva tasya. He is very dear to the Lord. So, here also Prabhupada is writing the representative of the Supreme Person of Godhead who acts to spread Krishna consciousness, which is Guru, is also guided by the Supreme Lord to act properly in executing the Lord's order. So, which means whatever the Guru says is as good as, that's why it said Guru Vakya is Veda Vakya, as good as Lord speaking. So we cannot like say, no, 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 this doesn't, I can't accept this is too difficult for me. Boo. Just we have to simply accept it, that's all. No option. It's for our good. Such a person may appear to be an ordinary human being, but because he acts on behalf of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Spiritual Master, he is not to be neglected as ordinary. What is that verse? Uh, Forgot. It is therefore said, Acharya Mam Vijaniyat. An Acharya who acts on behalf of the Supreme Lord should be understood to be as good as Supreme Lord himself. Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has advised a supreme that the spiritual master acting on the Supreme Lord's behalf must be worshipped as being as good as the Supreme Lord, for he is the Lord's most confidential servant in broadcasting the Lord's message for the benefit of the conditioned souls involved in the material world. Hmm. What's that verse? Verse which says, uh, Martyana Suyeta. That don't consider the Guru as Martya, uh, and don't be envious. Martya means mortal being. People are envious of Guru. Why? Because oh, Guru is sitting on the highest platform and he's telling and everybody is following. I also want to become like that. Mm. No. So we should not envy, and we should not consider Guru as a ordinary human being. He might look like that, he might speak like that also, but we should understand that that is just his humility. If he's considering himself as an ordinary human being, subjected to time and age and all that, that's just his humility. We cannot think that, oh, no, 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 Guru is actually saying that he's also affected by old age. Maybe he's affected. No, he's not affected. Uh, so we have to know, which is why Guru Sadhu Shastra. Sometimes Guru might speak things which might not look, which is not Shastra because of humility. He doesn't want to consider himself that position. And that doesn't mean that we accept whatever he's saying as authentic. I mean, yeah, just out of humility, he might be saying some things which are not actually correct from a Shastric perspective. So then disciples should, no, 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 no. Okay, Guru is just being humble. I can't treat him, I can't think of him as an ordinary being. Juno budhoyam nija karma bandhanaha sukhechaya karma samihate sukham yetse vayatam vidunotya sanmatim granthim sabindhya bhindyad dridayam sano guruhu. In hopes of becoming happy in this material world, the foolish conditioned soul performs fruitive activities that result only in suffering. But by rendering service to the Supreme Person of Godhead, one becomes free from such false desires for happiness. May my Supreme Spiritual Master cut the knot of false desires from the core of my heart. Yeah, we should pray for this. So we can all pray. May my Supreme Spiritual Master cut the knot of false desires from the core of my heart. For material happiness, the conditioned soul involves himself in fruitive activities, which actually put him into material distress. Because the conditioned soul does not know this, he is said to be in avidya or ignorance. Because of a false hope for happiness, the conditioned soul becomes involved in various plans for material activity. Here, Maharaja Satyavrata prays that the Lord sever this hard knot of false happiness and thus become his supreme spiritual master. So we should also pray that the Lord sever the hard knot of false happiness. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that we don't do our duty, we run away. No, we do our duty. But actually, we don't do our duty. We do Krishna consciousness, right? If we are working, also we are working for Krishna. If you're taking care of family, that also we are doing for Krishna. So we are not doing our duty. So we are actually sarva dharman parityaja. Okay. So as long as we are doing this for Guru and Krishna's pleasure, this is not sadharana dharma. This is not like ordinary dharma of this material world that I am following Stri dharma, Purusha dharma. No, but we are following that dharma not for because I want to get elevated or I want to do this. See, as per Varnashrama, if you follow your dharma, you don't have any sin. No sin, accumulation of sins. So people previously wanted to follow their Varna dharma, ashrama dharma, so that they can remain sinless. But we are not doing that for with that intention. We are doing that with the simple intention that it is for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. And because everybody we are connected with is devotee. Now you might say, no, no, but if suppose say somebody is married to a non-devotee, what about that person? Now that person is just unrevealed devotee who is not yet revealed, meaning he will become devotee in the future. We know so many devotee families, right, where husband is devotee, wife is not devotee, wife is devotee, husband is not devotee. And then over a period of time, we've seen all these people, their spouses are coming to Krishna consciousness, which means that before they came to Krishna consciousness, they were in the process of coming to Krishna consciousness. So they're still devotees. So we can't just ignore them. Say that no, no, they're non-devotee. They're non-devotee or they are devotee in the making. We can think of it like this. So everything can be, see, everything can be done in a service mood. As long as we don't get down to material consciousness, everything that we do can be in a devotional mood. Mm. Actually, which is what Prabhupada is writing in his purports, right? Prabhupada so unusually, like very different compared to his predecessors, acharyas, especially Baladev Vidyabhushan and then Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. His purports to Bhagavad Gita are, I mean, it took me many years to understand. Like Prabhupada is, Krishna is saying karma, Prabhupada is saying bhakti. Krishna is saying karma, Prabhupada is again saying bhakti. And then when you read other acharyas' commentary, they're saying Krishna is saying karma, acharyas are also saying karma. And then I realized saying that this is what Prabhupada wants us to do. He wants us to do our karma as bhakti. So there is really no consideration as such of karma. Which is why this is a path of pure devotion. Unfortunately, people, devotees even in ISKCON, don't understand or don't accept it the way it is. Because Prabhupada did not give anything apart from pure devotion. So then might be wondering, pure devotion and family, yes. The majority of the Mahajanas are Grihasthas. Srila Prabhupada was a Grihastha. Bhakti Vinod Thakur was a Grihastha. So, yeah, it's not a disadvantage. Of course, it's good. Somebody can, not somebody, if a male can remain a brahmachari, it's good. It's good for him. Just avoids some hassles which otherwise are there in family life. But then also I realized that based on our conditioning only, we would have taken a certain type of birth and a certain type of mindset. And it also requires a certain type of life to purify us. So, especially Matajis who were born in this life as female bodies, which means that they require uh, to go through Grihastha life to become purified. That is what the Lord is indicating by giving that birth and making them also a devotee. And for some men also who are not able to remain as brahmacharis, which means that again they have some material attachment, some desires. Again, that purification will happen through family. Mm. Through hammering, hammering will happen. So hammering is required. So like we know that we should not run away from hammering. But then there are also some fortunate souls who can remain, who can make progress without that hammering. So which means that they've made more progress uh, than us in their previous lives. Mm. Mm. Anyway, the not a false desires has to go, and the Lord knows best way of removing that. So we have to just surrender to Him and say, okay, Krishna, Now up to you, whatever you want to do. Okay, so we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions? Any questions? Okay. Everybody's become very silent nowadays. Good. Maybe no doubts is good. Okay, we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।